Bringing you the latest news from around the world and here at home. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Nicola De Souza. We start off with tonight's headlines.
Bond Commission witness receives death threats from close relative of former minister. Recording of evidence has concluded. Attorney General's Department said public should be presented with a full-baked cake. Suspicions emerge over government procurement of LP gas. MP Sunil Handunneti submits National Audit Bill to Secretary General of Parliament to be tabled as a private member's motion. Inspector General of Police publicises contact details of senior police officers.
64-year-old Lalita Ananda, a resident of Saliyapura, Anuradhapura, lives by herself since being left by her husband and only son. Living alone, Lalita has no form of income, and through hunger, she was driven to a point of plucking 3 mangoes from her neighbor's garden. Following a complaint lodged by the neighbor, Lalita was arrested by the police.
I plucked just 3 mangoes and I was taken to the Anuradhapura police. I returned only at 6 in the morning. A police officer and another person asked me to come to the station at 9. I wasn't even given a chit. I said I plucked just 3 mangoes and that I admit the mistake. The complainant wanted to file a court case and a case was filed saying I had stolen 19 mangoes. I was kept at the police station since 10 in the morning until I was taken to court the next day. I wasn't allowed to use the washroom, nor was I provided with a female police officer. I was put into the cell and the gate was closed at night.
Lalita Ananda was released on bail after being produced before court. Do you recall when a child was punished in a similar fashion for picking up 2 coconuts? Just as the law is strictly implemented for stealing coconuts and mangoes out of hunger, shouldn't the law be implemented against those who swindle billions from public funds through the central bank bond scam?
I was taken to court for these 3 mangoes while banks are being broken into and drugs are being sold.
A witness who testified before the Presidential Commission has been forced to flee the country following death threats. At today's proceedings, the Attorney General's Department said the family of the witness has also received threats. Let's now cross over where Bandula Jayasekara is attending with Zulfiq Farzan.
Presidential Commission investigating the bond issue has decided to conclude recording of evidence today. We got more news for you. What's happening, Zulfiq?
Well, Bandula, today the Presidential Commission of Inquiry decided to conclude the recording of evidence. Now, the Commission has had sittings for 121 times and they've recorded evidence from over 63 witnesses. So, officially today they concluded recording evidence. Now, however, in relation to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry has sent a questionnaire to the Prime Minister and has asked him to respond to those questions via an affidavit.
To the Prime Minister, can't they ask him to come to the Commission? Why is that?
Well, according to Justice K.T. Chittasuri, who read out a statement at the Commission, once the Prime Minister sends his response to these questions via an affidavit, and if the Commission believes that the explanations are not sufficient, they will have a separate sitting at the Presidential Commission and ask the Prime Minister to testify before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Now, an important statement was made by Additional Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda, where he called Perpetual Treasuries Limited a criminal organization. He said the evidence in relation to this has been placed before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, and the reason he says Perpetual Treasuries Limited is a criminal organization is because it is involved in insider dealing, it has had inappropriate correspondence and communication with peoples in authority and in politics, and Perpetual Treasuries Limited, through the evidence led before this commission, is involved in bribing its informants who gave them market-sensitive and price-sensitive information.
That's a very strong statement, Zulfiq.
Indeed, Bandula. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry also praised the task of the Attorney General's Department as well as the Criminal Investigations Department officers who have been assisting with the gathering of evidence and material for this commission.
When Yasantha Kodagoda said that, how did the others react? What was the reaction?
Well, there was no definite reaction from the other side. However, Yasantha Kodagoda was firm when he made that statement.
In fact, I think the country, the honest citizen, the peace-loving citizen should be thankful to the Attorney General's Department, to the Commission and to the CID, Sulfik.
Indeed.
Because they have done a great job. But then there also was a story about a key witness being threatened.
Yes, Bandula, this all transpired when Additional Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda today presented a complaint that had been filed by the brother of one of the witnesses who testified before the Commission. Now, this witness previously testifying before the Commission, she said that the penthouse that she was living in, she sold it to the family of a former minister, basically the former finance minister. Now, the brother of this witness says after she testified before the Commission, she received numerous threats from many quarters, and this forced her to flee the country. And recently, on Saturday, the brother of this witness, whose name we will not mention due to security concerns for his own, has said that on Saturday, a person by the name of Shanil Nettikumara had called him at night and threatened him, saying that statements made before the Presidential Commission have in fact harmed this so-called Uncle Ravi. Now, accordingly, the Uncle Ravi is referred to former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake, which was mentioned at the Presidential Commission. Now, the brother of this witness says Nettikumara had conveyed a threat to him over the phone, and because of the testimony that his sister had given before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry implicating this former minister, Nettikumara had threatened him, the sister, as well as their father.
Sulfik, we have a Witness Protection Act, and it's supposed to be very strong. And also, the police, they know the name of this the person who threatened. Yes. What will the CID do about it?
Well, Bandula, once this was exposed, Additional Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda retweeted and requested the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to direct the Director General of the Sri Lanka Police Witness Protection Unit to immediately set up an interim protection regime for this witness and her family. He also said that an immediate criminal investigation needs to take place on the threat made by this person called Shanil Nettikumara, because the Additional Solicitor General believes this person acted on the interest of a person who was implicated by the witness.
So what happened to this witness who was hospitalized?
Well, Bandula, you are referring to the personal assistant of Arjun Aloysius, Steve Samuel. Well, he arrived at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today. He did not seem very well, and his lawyers say he's still recovering. Now, he was confronted with a series of text messages extracted from his mobile phone. These messages are between Steve Samuel and Arjun Aloysius. Now, in these text messages, there are references to names like AM, RK, PM, and A. Mahendran, Arjuna M. Now, when Steve Samuel was questioned who these people are, he said he does not know. He just writes down the instructions that are given to him, and then he sends it to Arjun Aloysius through a text message. However, when he was asked who A. Mahendran is, rather than saying it refers to Arjuna Mahendran, what Steve Samuel said, it refers to Anjali Mahendran, the daughter of Arjuna Mahendran and the wife of Arjun Aloysius. So he was questioned on these names, and it came to light that Arjun Aloysius had in fact had meetings with people like RK, AM, PM, and then Ravi Karunanayake, the name was mentioned in the text message, and Ravi Krishnamurthy and Saman Indira Kumara.
Sri Lanka, this is the bond gate. It is your money which has been looted. We hope justice will be served. Keep watching News First. Thank you, Sulfik.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Speaking at a media briefing convened today, UPFA parliamentarian Bandula Gunawardena claimed that the government has not spent a sum of 792 billion rupees allocated under the budget for 2017.
In his report, the Auditor General says that for the first time the government has regulations in the Act on Fiscal Responsibilities and that liabilities have increased to 83.3%. According to the Act, our total debt capacity is 80% of GDP. The statements made by the Prime Minister are completely contradictory to what was said in Parliament in 2016. He has said that debt repayments and interest payments were higher than state revenue under our government and that there has been no problem in 2015, 2016 and 2017. It was said that the problem is that the majority of debt and interest repayment will have to be made in 2025. So the debt burden does not fall on this government. It will fall on the government that is elected in 2020. Conspiratorial forces within the government has entrapped the President and the Prime Minister in a severe conspiracy and have furnished them with false data. The chief respondent in this case is former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake. Of the monies allocated for the Education Ministry in 2016, he has only disbursed 32%. The Prime Minister must summon his friend, the Education Minister, and question why only 32% of the money allocated for education was spent. About 20% of the total expenditure estimate under the budget has not been spent, amounting to 792 billion rupees. This is why the people say they have no money. The government's expenditure is the people's income. If money is to circulate, then the government must be the chief spender.
Views were expressed in Parliament today over the arrest of a group including MP Namal Rajapaksa during a recent protest staged in Hambantota. Two parliamentarians were released on bail yesterday, but MP Ranavira still remains in prison. This parliament celebrated its 70th anniversary, and since 1947 there have been hartals, MPs staged demonstrations on streets, but not a single arrest was made. Members of parliament have a right to serve among the people. I ask this from the Prime Minister.
Honourable Chief Government Whip, will you inform the Prime Minister?
Honourable Speaker, a clear response will be given at the next parliamentary session. Honourable Speaker, this parliament has never had a history of the lawmakers being brought down to tea makers and have been arrested. You have a responsibility here as well. You are our guardian.
Yes, I understand, but I believe there was a court order involved here.
You have issued an instruction to the police which is equal to a command, that if an MP is being arrested, you should be informed before taking them into custody. So you may notice that the police has not followed your instructions.
උපදේශයක් පවා මේ පොලිසිය පිළිපදින්නේ නැති බව ඔබතුමාට පෙනී යනවා ඇති. ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ
I looked into that and the response I got was that it was done based on a court order.
තමයි අධිකරණ නියෝගයක් කඩීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි හෙට අගමැතිතුමාත් කතා කරමු. ඔබතුමා කතා කරන්න. වාඩි වෙන්න. හරි. වාඩි වෙන්න. order please. Order please. Hurry.
On the 29th of July 1987, when the President had imposed a curfew, then opposition leader Anra Bandar Nayaka and ourselves violated that curfew and protested in PETA. But President Jaya Jayawardena did not arrest us.
Honourable Speaker, it is not just members of Parliament. I think members of the general public should also have the right to protest over their grievances. These people defeated a government which buried that right to come into power. I remember in 2010, MP Vijitha Herat was arrested and assaulted for protesting in Gaul. There are spineless ministers in the Yapalana government. They cannot give answers because they have stolen more. They cannot speak anymore. If not, they could clearly tell the people what they have done. Namal and Namal's father, Namal's mother, his uncles, all of them are a generation of thieves. They sold off every inch that they could get their hands on. They gave China total ownership over the port city. The premises of the army headquarters were sold off completely. This government changed all these agreements to 99-year leases. The government is unable to explain this to the people.
We cross over for a quick commercial break. Before that, Asanka Laduaheti gives us his interpretation of today's news. In the meantime, the Ceylon Electricity Board's debt to banks stood at 31.74 billion as of the end of April 2017. However, Fitch, a credit rating agency, in its rating of debt-ridden state-owned Ceylon Electricity Board, has issued it a top credit rating of AAA with a stable outlook.
A AAA credit rating means that an institution so rated is a best quality institution which is reliable and stable. Fitch, in its explanation for rating debt-ridden CEB AAA, said that this was because of its financial liabilities being guaranteed by the government of Sri Lanka. It said the rating is not derived from CEB's standalone credit profile and thus is not comparable with industry peers. We expect the state to provide extraordinary support to CEB over and above most other state entities.
JVP parliamentarian and COPE chairman Sunil Handunetti submitted the National Audit Bill drafted by the Auditor General to the Secretary General of Parliament today to be tabled as a private member's motion.
The Cabinet has continuously delayed the tabling of the National Audit Bill in Parliament. Against this backdrop, I submitted the Audit Bill drafted by the Auditor General as a private member's motion to the Secretary General of Parliament today, with all the content intact, before the Cabinet of Ministers amends it. I believe that this is an essential factor in controlling state finances, and if the Cabinet fails to bring this bill to Parliament, now the party leaders can decide to table this private member's motion in Parliament and adopt it.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce has appointed 25-year-old Shiran Fernando as its new chief economist, effective from the 16th of October.
Fernando, a student of Lyceum International School, Nugegoda, holds a bachelor's in economics and finance from the University of London International Programs, previously functioned as the lead economist and senior product head at Frontier Research, where he was responsible for the growth and strategic direction of the Economics Research Division. He will be directly in charge of the Economic Intelligence Unit of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, which is the focal point of the Chamber for Economic Research and Policy Advocacy, and is engaged in providing policy-level support and strategic advice to the government to shape the national economic agenda. Fernando succeeds Anushka Vijay Singha, who is to be appointed as Program Director, Trade and Innovation in the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade.
So the role of the Chamber has been always to be sort of the voice of the private sector, and primarily as the main focal point towards shaping and developing policy and providing input towards government and improving the investment climate. And that's the role I hope to continue as my role as both the chief economist and as the head of the EIU. So it's going to be an exciting and challenging opportunity, which I'm sure with more engagement with the private sector, we'll be able to deliver on some of the reforms that will sort of help propel growth for Sri Lanka.
The 19th World Festival for Youth and Students is currently underway in Sochi, Russia. Newsfirst Azra Azant filed this report.
A Sri Lankan stall was set at the main media center of the event.
This is a very important event to us. This is the first time that from Sri Lanka, 14 political parties and 33 organizations came here to participate in the event. There are a lot of experience, political, cultural, sports and various experience. So these participants who are leading the youth and student organizations of Sri Lanka, they are gathering the worldwide experience, and we hope that all these Sri Lankan youth and student leaders will take the maximum opportunity and take the experience to Sri Lanka to lead our country.
It is day 3 of the 19th World Festival for Youth and Students here in Sochi, Russia. Delegates from more than 150 countries participated in the events such as panel discussions, workshops, training, cultural events, sporting activities and many more. The Gam and the team of Newsfirst here in Sochi, Russia were able to talk to several representatives from different countries and exchange ideas about the Gam and the initiative. When we spoke to them, they were surprised to know that a media organization in Sri Lanka has taken the effort effort to go to rural villages and help people to overcome their day-to-day difficulties and day-to-day activities. So, talking to us, they told that they will indeed help us to make this initiative a great success. So stay tuned to Newsfirst as the government, the team here in Sochi, Russia, will keep you updated on the 90th World Festival for Youth and Students here in Sochi. Signing off for now for the Newsfirst team, I'm Mazra Hassan reporting with Yasara Kamasri and Gihanu Dioga.
Plantation workers who have served for several years across many of the estates in the Central Hills claim that they have not received their employees' Provident Fund payments. Meanwhile, Commissioner General of Labour A. Vimalavira also confirmed today that many state-owned plantation companies have not paid payments to the EPF.
The Al-Kadua Plantation Company, the Janata Estates Development Board and the State Plantations Corporation, it is around these three companies that the problem of non-payment of employees' Provident Fund dues has arisen. The Al-Kadua Plantation Company owes 329 million rupees. The Janata Estate Development Board owes 1.2 billion rupees and the State Plantations Corporation owes 1 billion rupees to the Employees' Provident Fund and the Employees' Trust Fund. We have filed a large number of cases over failure to make these payments. There are more than 1,600 pending cases.
pending cases The Jana Asuna I Am the Future campaign, which provides the public a stage to express their ideas and give voice to their will, commenced in Thabbowa, Puttalam yesterday.
The first public rally of the Jana Asuna campaign, which builds a stage for the people to express their views and ideas, was held at the number 4 settlement in Thabbowa, Karulagaswawa in the Puttalam district.
In truth, as youth, we wasted our time. We wonder now why we went behind these people. Sirasa gave us guidance. Today I am participating in this program as a leader in my village. I am able to speak about the problems facing my village anywhere I go. I have the ability to stand on my own feet and speak about this without having to go behind any politician. We have come together to discuss the problems facing our village. The human-elephant conflict in this village cannot be resolved from Colombo. Why are we wasting our time with these people who are parachuted from outside, and why do we send them to Parliament and the Provincial Council? Do not be afraid to stand. You can embark on a long journey with Jana Asuna. 9 new Sri Lanka Freedom Party district organizers were appointed today.
The new SLFP district organizers received their letters of appointment from President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat today. Nalin Gunasekara was appointed as the SLFP organizer for the Colombo district. Mirwal Lebbe Repuhasam, Navanida Raja, IH Abdul Wahab and T. Rahafdeen were appointed as organizers of the Ampara district. Praneeth Premathilaka received his appointment as the organizer of the Mathura district, and MHM Sakira was appointed as organizer of the Ratnapura district. The president also presented letters of appointment to Ari Ratna Vijay Vikrama as organizer of the Mahoya Pradesh Sabha division of the Ampara district and Sujiva Godeliadda as organizer of the Mathura district.
The SLFP organizer for the Mathura district, Nalin Ranavira, had this to say on the changes made in party organizer positions.
They cannot put up the signboard of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and engage in political activities for other parties. There were those who were not doing any work, and there were those who sought to trip us up. If the SLFP is to be victorious, then there must be individuals willing to rally the people to stand with the party. So His Excellency the President has appointed such people as organizers, and we will certainly be able to carry the party towards victory with these people. Ranavir expressed these views at an event held today to distribute books among children in the Borulukati area in Kampurupitia.
Addressing the 20th annual convention of the All Ceylon Railways General Services Union held today, JV Politburo member K.D. Lalkantha had this to say.
Barefaced rogues are speaking about the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. You are all aware that the Tigers conspired to assassinate Mahinda Rajapaksa. Johnny or Johnston brought down and gave shelter to a female LTTE cadre and prepared for this attempt. Are you aware of this? When it was found out by Mahinda, Johnny immediately left the UMP, knelt and fell at Mahinda's feet and joined him. Today, the file has gone missing. There are murder allegations against them for the murder of Tajuddin and Lasanta. There are many such allegations. Have any of these been resolved? No. Investigations have concluded, but no action is being taken. It is not being done because of the deal that has been struck between them and Ranil Wickremesinghe. You all know that the UMP as a party has broken in and robbed a bank. It is evident now that everyone in Ranil Wickremesinghe's faction right at the top is involved in this. So can these rogues be punished?
We apologize as we ran into a few technical difficulties tonight, but you can catch all our stories by logging on to www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Do take care.
Good night.